All right, thank y'all for being here. We today in the stadium, first scrimmage action went long, so if you've been waiting, I apologize. We did a bunch of situational work and did a lot of special teams work, so took a little longer than what I was thinking. So apologize about that. Tackled about half of it. Half of it was where we just tagged them. But definitely our most intense work. First time we've been in the stadium all during fall camp. Everybody on the roster got reps, and we really took a hard look at some of our young guys that are athletic enough to play on special teams. And so y'all ask questions, and I'll give you as much insight on what happened as I can.
So I guess start offensively. Who looked good? What'd you like?
Yeah, I thought Tony Mathis was really solid today, and I really like Jalen Anderson and C.J. Donaldson. C.J. Donaldson and Jalen Anderson both took significant steps. Justin didn't get as much work today, but those two, really like them. The offensive line, I think that we had our moments. We had a few penalties we got to get cleaned up, but we definitely had some moments there. Quarterbacks, I don't even want to talk about them until I watch the video. It's not fair to them. Wideouts, a little bit of, I have high expectations for them. I thought they were okay. Yeah, just okay, which is not going to be good enough for us to be where we want to be. I do think that Reese Smith had a really good day today. He's had he's been as consistent as anybody through fall camp. He's playing faster. He made a couple really nice plays down the field. And then some of the offensive stuff, like third downs, the first and second group did some nice things in a third down period. We did a goal line that they were successful on, and then we did a 2-minute into game, and they did a nice job orchestrating that.
So I guess flip to the other side then. Mm-hmm. Defense, what'd you see? What'd you like? What didn't you like?
Lance Dixon was really active, and he's had a good 4 or 5 days. His best stretch as a Mountaineer, really, from a consistency standpoint. I thought Lee Koba did a nice job getting us lined up and communicating. Dante would have had probably 3 or 4 sacks, maybe 3 probably. I thought that Marcus Floyd showed up and did some nice things today. Charles Woods, he's had it. I'd put him and Lance there kind of together. He's had a really good 3 to 5 day stretch. Hershey McLaurin, it was a big day for him, and I thought he showed up. He was physical. He tackled well. I thought the 2 transfer corners, Rashad and Wesley, have been solid. So, and then Davis Mallinger did a nice job.
3 weeks from today. So when is it you need to have a first group ready and sort of get them reps together? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's too early now, but you have a timeline?
Yeah, and for a lot of it, it's not as much the entire first group, because the way the game's played now, defensively it's such personnel dictated, and you rotate your D-line. So it's about figuring out defensively who's going to be the group you're going to play, and then offensively, what's your depth look like? How many receivers are you going to play in the game? How many running backs are you going to play? How many tight ends? What's the rotation look like at offensive line? And so those are the things that, we've got a pretty good idea, the main pieces that are going to play. We need to get reps. Today on special teams, what we did is we've got a group that this is by far the most athletic team that we have. And what I mean by that is the most able bodies, the most speed, and guys that can make plays in an athletic position. This is the most that we've had, Greg. And so today, what we did is we did some special teams competition drills with just those guys. And you all have seen them do when you've seen us in the spring. It's more of a spring practice drill that we do to kind of get a feel for who our best special teams players are. But we have so many of these guys that are maybe new or they're young. We did those drills today. And I'm probably as eager to watch that as anything offensively and defensively, because it's going to give us some real key insight on who's ready to play. And so, and I'll give you some feedback on that next time I meet with you guys.
And then you talked about the offensive line a little bit. What do you feel good about there? What still needs to
Yeah, I don't know if you ever feel completely like that you've arrived there, just because, if you look at the people we got to play, especially early in the year, man, we've got some really stout defensive lines we're going to have to play. So I really like our communication. We're on the right people for the most part, and we do a lot of things defensively, and we always feel like if we can get on the right people versus our guys, then we got a chance versus anybody we're going to play. So I'm pleased with that. I think that we've got to be able to sustain our pass pro a little bit longer. That's something I think that we've got to work on. And we just got to get reps on short yardage and goal line. It's not that we've been poor at it. We just haven't had as many reps. And that's something that we've got a window here between now and next Thursday where we got to get those reps. And then you don't really want to have kind of those big body, so many big bodies in close quarters after that.
How are things going at right tackle?
Yeah, so I think that Brandon Yates has came on, and it's hard to judge today, until I watch it. But the 2 previous days, he's been much improved. I think he feels more healthy, and so that's been good to see.
Yeah, with was Gmitter back today?
So Gmitter's out. Nothing that's going to keep him out for a very long time. But he did not practice today. Hopefully, probably early next week.
Okay. You were so certain about who was going to be in one through the spots left to right, and this guy was a guard, this guy was a tackle. That could be good because you just focus on that and go. But part of the preseason is experimenting and moving a guard to tackle, center to guard, whatever, doing things like that.
Yeah.
Have you done much of that? Because
We have. We didn't do as much in the spring, but we have here in the first 8 or 9 days, just because you got to have some flexibility because you don't know what your injury situation is going to be. We do have some guys that have some flexibility. And what I mean by that, Zach can play either guard or center. Jordan White can play all 3 interior. Both Brandon and Hubbard can play guard or tackle. Nick Malone can play guard or tackle. Doug Nestor can play guard or tackle. So we are doing some rotating. We do a lot of half line, whether it's, half line run. We do some half line pass protection. And so we're really intentional about getting those guys and moving them around during those periods.
You found anything there that's promising? Because you came up with a great idea of who you had, but sometimes
Yeah.
that can blind you from other possibilities.
Well, yeah, I think that we've gotten Doug Nestor several reps at center and tackle, and he can do both. He can play both. I think a lot of that's credit to the work he's put in. His lateral agility is a lot better. His ball get off has improved. Jordan White has played better at guard. We've been playing him at center primarily, but we've used him at guard here with Gmitter being didn't go in the scrimmage. And just watching it live, I thought he did a nice job.
Coach, I know you won't go into too much detail about how the quarterback performs until you see the film. But can you share how you broke down the reps today? Was it still even split?
Yeah, all of them got. Now the exact number of plays is not the exact, but the drives are. Yeah, try to even up the drives. Plays aren't, because sometimes you go 3 and out, sometimes you have long drives. So that's and that'll be part of the determining factor because at the end of the day it's about scoring touchdowns. And so but they had the equal number of drives, just the plays probably were off.
You have to start slimming that down at some point.
Yeah, we do, but. Y'all have been out there and seen us during some of our team stuff. We have 4 units going at all times, and so we're going on one part of the field or the other, what we call a 2 spot, and so you got 2 units on one field going against 2 units of 2 units of offense going against 2 units of defense on both fields. And so everybody's getting reps, and the quarterbacks are getting plenty of reps to get enough timing. But we do, we kind of point to the end of that second scrimmage. It's kind of when we go from camp mode, which is getting ready for the season. If you think about camp, fall preseason practice is about getting ready for the season. Then you start, after that second scrimmage, you start getting ready for your first game. You get into more of a game prep mode.
What is the, I don't want to say secret, but how do you go about arriving at that first game on time and not 2 days late?
Yeah, well, we got to do a better job than last year, right, Bob? Yeah, so no, I think that's it's hard to play a really good team early. It is. Now the good thing is a lot of time, it's not a lot of time all the time, is they're playing their first game too. But we did not perform very well in that Maryland game last year, and so we've that was kind of something that we really studied going back into January and in the spring is how we did fall camp, and we've redone, and our calendar's different, how we practice is different, how long we go, what time we get the kids out of here in the evenings, number of off days. I mean, all this kind of stuff. We've changed almost a 180 about how we've really approached camp, with in mind to be at our as good as we can possibly be on that Thursday night in Pittsburgh. And so now you're not going to know if it all pays off until how you play, but we just didn't win the game, and you turn the ball over 4 times, but we just didn't play very well. We didn't look like ourselves defensively. Offensively, we didn't. Our reactions weren't very good. So I didn't think that whatever we did last year leading up to that game wasn't good enough. And so rather than trying to do the same thing over and over again, because we got a rivalry game again, we went out and studied how the best that play early, how they do it, and we've taken some of those things and really changed.
You mentioned some of the running backs standing out. How is the run game coming along? Does it look kind of where, obviously not where you want it, but positive trajectory?
Yeah, I think we're on the right path. We've done a lot of good on good run game, and like I said, I think we've got some really good pieces in both of our fronts. Trying to get those guys carries that that haven't done it as much in a game. Justin, Jalen, and CJ. And the thing that I kind of like about our running back room is they've all got a little bit different styles, and so I think that's helpful. I've been really pleased with CJ Donaldson. I really felt like in recruiting, and that was somebody that, and I know you follow it, that was somebody that really got on in the fall, and he's a great of how you play your senior year still matters. And he played exceptionally well as a senior. It helped that, Trey was already committed to us, but he played really well and was just intrigued by his athleticism. Played slot receiver, played a little bit of running back, a little bit of like H-back there. But he was just a really good football player. And the more I got to know him, I knew he loved football. And so right now we've got a need at running back, and that's where he's going to play. But, man, he gives us a lot of versatility, and he's just good with the ball in his hands. He just makes plays, And is he going to be ready to be a major contributor week 1? I'm not saying that. But I am saying, it was a great pickup for us. And he's going to make us a lot better offensively, just with his versatility and his ability to do a bunch of different things.
You mentioned, in the first presser about how the running backs and tight ends need to do better on pass protection. What have you seen? Any progression in terms of that during these first couple weeks of camp?
Yeah, I think Brian Palende really helps us there. And if you look at some of those different spots he's been, both at Miami and at Colorado State, he was asked to do that. So he brought some experience in here with him. And then I think Coach Scott has done a nice job getting our running backs locked in on pass protection. And it's basically if you can't protect, you can't play. And so that's been improvement. And then we've been intentional about working it more in camp. I think anything that you want to get better at, you gotta be intentional about putting in the time. So we've done that.
You up for Michael Laughlin if he'll be able to play week 1?
Yeah, I think too early to tell. I think that see how this week goes. You've seen him. He's doing individual. He's doing some group work. He hadn't done any 11-on-11 yet. So I think that's kind of the tell. We're not going to rush him. When he's ready, he's ready. We love to have him. I think he'd love to play, but we're only going to do it if it's in the best interest of him.
Secondary, obviously, big rebuild there. A lot of new pieces. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, just watching it today, I thought, man, they did some really good things, Greg. I think that we wanted guys with experience to come in and play. And so Jasir Cox, Rashad Ajayi, and Wesley McCormick, they bring in a ton of experience. A lot of plays being played. They're hungry. They're very humble. And they're athletic. Jasir gives us flexibility. He can play probably 3 different spots for us. And then Rashad and Wes really have the ability to play man and zone, which you say, well, I mean, you got to do both. But we've been predominantly a zone team, and we felt like that we didn't allow our defensive line, which is our strength last year, to really get after the quarterback like they're capable of, because we had to play so much zone coverage. So we played more man today than we have, and I thought we did a nice job. Didn't give up a bunch of big plays, which is important. Gave up a few, but that's going to happen. But I like those guys. And Marcus has done a nice job transitioning from kind of a corner nickel at Murray State to a safety here. And Aubrey Burks he did a good job, And then I talked about Hershey. We need one more safety to kind of get ready to go. Nobody really jumped out today. Andrew Wilson-Lamp is getting a lot of reps at corner too, and he's getting better. People forget he's only played the position 2 years. But you talk about from a body type and a skill set, what we look for. Kids hitting 21 to 21 and a half, 22 on the GPS every single day. 6'1" plus, got really long arms. And he's learning. He gets a little better every single day. So I think he's got a bright future as well.
Is there somebody on the team in general that maybe wasn't entirely on your radar coming into the season that has really stepped up these first couple of weeks?
Let me think here. Traylon Davis has made a big jump from where he was in the spring. That's one guy. Nico's made a huge jump from spring, but I mean y'all track him pretty good. Jordan White, we talked about. I really think he feels more comfortable. Kind of knows what his strengths and his weaknesses are. Which sometimes that's as important playing offensive line as anything, is knowing, what you can't do. I think that, Jared Bartlett and Linnell Carr at that bandit position have been more consistent. Their play's been more consistent, which I think is a sign of maturity. And they played a lot of football, especially Jarrett. I think those are probably some people that just jump out to. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, so let's see that's why I bring the book of Monty in here in case I am forgetting somebody.
One last one from me.
Yep, I'm listening, Greg.
I've been waiting on it. Have you always been a Neal Diamond fan?
We started every practice with that, Greg.
Yeah,
we were playing that for
we hear it.
Oh, y'all hear it? Yeah. Sean Martin, too. I think Sean Martin's been a guy, going back to the previous question, Sean Martin has done a nice job, and I talked about Reese Smith earlier today. So now we're just trying to get them ready for the atmosphere. Trying to get them ready for the atmosphere, and, I think when you have rivalry, some of it's fun, too. And so we've been doing that. If you remember going back to spring ball, we played that, and then they did it all summer. And so when we started practice, they were still playing it, so it's fun. Anybody else? Yep.
That's a guy that you mentioned in the spring, that the opportunity be there for him, and he seems to produce when involved.
Yeah, Mike, it was nobody was more disappointed than him because he got injured in the spring, and he didn't get to practice as much. I think if you'll remember, one of the first practices you guys were there, we had to go in the indoor for weather. And he got a little bit of a hamstring. He got a good, not a little bit. He got a pretty significant hamstring issue there, like first day of pads in the spring, and really wasn't himself. But he's ran well. People sleep on his speed, and that's fine. But I mean, his numbers on the GPS are really, really impressive. He was a 4-core special team starter for us last year. He's going to do that, and then he's pushing, in that receiver room. He's going to get a bunch of receiving snaps because he makes plays. I mean, the quarterbacks have a lot of confidence in him because he has no intimidation. He'll catch it going across the middle. He gets north and south when he has the ball in his hands, and he catches about everything thrown to him. So, we think he's ready to, and it's year 3 for him, and we think he's ready to he's been really solid for us on special teams, but I think he's ready to be a contributor on offense. All right, thank y'all. Again, sorry I was late.